Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Quant Network, aka QNT. So with that being said, let's just dive in and let's start off with the overall price chart. So very similar to Hedera. I talked a little bit about how these assets will just kind of go sideways and consolidate until the next major move up. You could also call this the accumulation phase, where you really want to just be accumulating the token, where it kind of cools off from a big move or even from possibly a big dump. As we do look at Quant today, it is sitting at about roughly a $1.2 billion market cap. Fully diluted, roughly about 1.5. I'm pretty sure all the supply is out there, but I know that coin market cap has been extremely weird with a lot of tokens. But I'm pretty sure the full supply is out there anyways. It's been a big talking point for a very long time around Quant, but nonetheless, as we do look at other tokens, like for example, XDC or even Caspa, one thing that I've noticed is that these tokens will go into a very boring price action move. Usually this is enough to shake out a lot of weak hands, right? As we start to see things going green and we see 100+% candles, then we start to see a little bit of a sell-off on some of these tokens that just kind of go sideways, and then they FOMO in, and then they usually lose out. XDC, perfect example of this, right? A lot of people were trying to buy up here as it did start to break out. Everyone was messaging me, hey, how do I buy this? After I talked about it for a year, actually, I would say 2 years. And one thing, if you look at all of these charts, they have a very similar pattern. Even Caspa, right? Caspa is a token that we've been watching for in the Discord since November of last year. It's been on the Patreon since around December of this year. And as we do look at this thing, like this thing went sideways as well. Had a nice little run up, which I would argue were probably like the run up on QNT. This one right here from October of 2022 is probably the same price action move as Caspa here back in November of 2022. And now we're just going sideways, 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 waiting for a big move. And Caspa has been very early to the party. It's been moving pretty much all year long. Breaking new all-time highs, continuing to create new all-time highs, and doing an absolute massive move ever since the summer of 2022. It's up about 26,300%. What an absolute massive giant. But nonetheless, all of these tokens do have a very, very full period where they just go sideways. And so far, QNT has been going sideways for 266 days. The best part about this is that it has been clinging to support right around this range here at about roughly $99, almost $100 flat. It's just been sitting here. And, this is a big area. We've talked a little bit about some impulsive moves to the downside that we could hit, which is like this entire box down here at about roughly $84 to about $100. And the only reason why I say like this whole box is because we wicked down back in the January 2022 timeframe. As that was a pretty significant price move, but then we had a nice impulsive move back up, and then we dropped. And as you guys do see, I also have this zone up here, which is the demand zone. This is where we will most likely see an impulsive move on QNT next, which is the $127 to $143 zone. I would argue, as we look at the chart right now, we're probably bottomed unless we do lose the $100 range and possibly break down below the $94 range, which is the last sort of string of support that we've seen since, of course, the high wicks in October. And remember, this is a wick. This isn't a candle body. Usually I like to look at the candle bodies a little bit more closely than just the candle wicks because that kind of shows us where most of the support is. But we're definitely watching this one closely for the next major impulsive move on it. So far, I think that a lot of people are kind of getting bored with QNT just because it's been going sideways and we see big moves happening with all these other tokens, and everyone's asking themselves, what the hell is going on with Quant? Basically, accumulation for 266 days. And I don't mind it at all. I personally love the $100 range. I said anything around or under $100 is an instant to buy. And as we do look at a few things happening around Quant, recently, they announced that they got a new patent, which is huge. And this is part of their ongoing mission to make distributed ledger technology simple, trusted, and future-proof. And we do see over here from Gilbert Verdian, we're delighted to be granted the first patent from our filings in 2017. The grant of Japanese patent 7273053 recognizes that Quant has introduced a method to agree on a universal time zone for all blockchains so that enterprises and smaller businesses can produce reliable consensus-based records. It's our innovation to make blockchains seamless and easy to integrate into business and financial applications without the need for complex infrastructure. Quant has been trying to make this as simple as possible because I don't know if you guys are aware, but if you've been watching the recent videos, obviously we're at a big point in time where DLT, blockchain technology, it is the go-to for the institutional sector, especially around financial applications, business, enterprise, you name it. So this is the big move right now. This is the technology boom, if you will. And over the next couple years, we are going to see mass adoption of this technology from these leaders around the space in terms of finance, business, even the supply chain, healthcare, trade, you name it. Every single sector and industry will be touched by this technology, and it's going to be through the easiest way possible and to make it, not so complex. And that's what Quant is really doing here. And I think that this is great. And they even do mention a few things down here. So although we work with large institutions, most recently with the Bank of England on a project examining central bank digital currencies, we also aim to make blockchain more accessible to firms of all sizes via our low-code SaaS platform, Overledger. Other elements of Overledger's technology are also patent pending in various jurisdictions. And we do see down here, patents underpin many of the world's most important inventions. Innovation is a word that's overused in the finance and technology sectors, but a patent is an entirely objective seal that a firm is indeed a true innovator, which is why we're unashamedly excited about this. So yeah, this is great. And they want to make this as simple as possible. That's why they're even saying down here, like with just a few clicks, it allows customers to issue digital money as well as interoperable assets. So this is the key here. This is the key to mass adoption. This is also why I say, like, in the future, QNT is going to be extremely valuable. When we look at QNT today, around $100, like, it just screams to me that we're still very early, because I do think that this thing will go to $400 plus and well beyond that, which I've talked about many times in the past. Now, also, we've seen Gilbert Verdian mention a few things around Apple. So we do see, for a second thought, Apple was issuing the Apple dollar. Wouldn't be surprised if big tech entered the banking market this way, tokenized commercial money native to their platform wallets, iOS/Android, and enabled for billions of their customers to transact instantly who have their devices. And this is actually very interesting because one thing that I do want to mention is the case for commercial stablecoins. And that is an article that got written back in May of 2022, and this is by Gilbert Verdian himself, the case for commercial stablecoins. If we scroll down, they do talk about blockchain. They talk about how it enabled all kinds of new money, speculative, volatile, you name it. And down here, they do mention that enter the commercial stablecoin. There are certain characteristics of a stablecoin that make it more suitable for B2B use by financial institutions and their enterprise customers. At Quant, we call these commercial stablecoins. These privately issued digital currencies backed by fiat or commodities will become an essential counterpoint to CBDCs. Issued by regulated private companies, financial institutions, and banks, many are already live. And they do mention a few things around this. In fact, they mention a company that is currently looking into this. So we do see there is also momentum growing amongst enterprises. Volvo, for example, is using its trading tokens to function as e-money to facilitate payment for logistics and business services between participants in its ecosystem. So as we do look at this, right, like this is more so for private enterprises, but imagine how much volume is going to be around this, especially in terms of the B2B sector, which we know is extremely large. I think that this is great. And I think that this is a huge opportunity, especially for the private sector, to get in on this. And these massive enterprises, like for example, Apple, Nvidia, Volvo, you name it. All of these major companies can get in on this game. And even if we go back to the post by Gilbert Verdian, you do see Pixar, Adobe, Apple, Autodesk, and Nvidia from Alliance for OpenUSD. So these were the major companies tied to this. I would not be surprised if we start to see mass adoption of commercial grade stablecoins in the near future. And that's all through tokenization. And they even did write a few things around this, considerations and benefits. This was just recently, February 7th of this year, followed by February 23rd of this year, commercial grade stablecoin issuance, risk, and long-term vision. And yeah, there's a lot to this. I think that everyone should go and check this out. There's a lot of stuff to really kind of read over this and a ton of information, but it really is valuable to really kind of see everything coming together and to realize what's happening right now around crypto, specifically crypto adoption. And we do see down here, seriously, Two replies to state the same thing. Obviously, it is a 3D data format. I could read the article. And this is an individual that is responding and saying AOUSD has nothing to do with money. It is a standard for interoperability of 3D content through OpenUSD, Universal Scene Description. Standardizing the 3D ecosystem will enable developers and content creators to describe, compose, and simulate large-scale 3D projects. And we do see kind of missing the point of big tech entering financial services markets with payments. Apple Pay, Google Pay, Amazon Pay, PayPal, Apple Card, etc. It has been one of the threats to banking and financial services incumbents watching big tech closely for many years. It's a matter of when, not if, they have the scale and reach to do it. And yes, this is something that I think everyone should be looking at, especially as we do see the world of enterprises changing as they do come over to Hedera and all the other major networks out there that are offering incredible benefits for their business model. I do think, I see a future around this space, and I've talked about it many times on this channel, where mass adoption isn't you paying for goods and services with, specific tokens. Like, for example, I'm not going to utilize QNT to go out and buy a house, right? What's going to happen is we're going to have so many diverse things of value tied to crypto. I talk about this many times with tokenization, for an example. Like, tokenization as a service is a huge game changer, especially for everyone. It's not just businesses, it's not just institutions. No, it's even the retail sector. Why? Because tokenization opens the door for you to jump into real estate at much lower prices, meaning obstacles are being broken, barriers are being torn down. This is truly something remarkable, and it's a game changer, especially in today's society. As we do look at this, right, like mass adoption is exactly what is being outlined here by Gilbert Verdian. As we do look at some of these companies like Apple or even Google, right? If they did start to tokenize commercial money, aka native to their platform wallets with iOS and even Android, this would enable billions of their customers to transact instantly. This would be a gateway to mass adoption, whether or not they, issue this out on a specific DLT, let's say Hedera, for example, or even the XRP Ledger. It does not matter. All we need to know is that this is a game changer for them. And just like Gilbert Verdian is saying, it's not, if, it is when, because this is happening. We are starting to see a big shift happening around crypto, especially from the enterprise grade sector, but also from the major financial institutional grade sector as well. So thought that this was definitely something interesting to mention, considering the fact that we are already kind of seeing adoption within this. This goes all the way back to 2022. So just imagine where it's at today. Adoption is only going to continue to grow from here on out. Like I said, in the next couple years, this space is going to look extremely different. And also, like I said, with Quant, they have their eyes on pretty much almost every single major market. They are also a major gateway to mass adoption and a key to unlock interoperability of all major platforms within the space, aka DLTs, networks, you name it. This truly is the network of networks that is building, growing, and becoming a giant within the space. And like I said, Quant has always been a giant in my mind, and especially a big piece of my portfolio, considering the fact that, I look at this thing as today's modern age Bitcoin, considering the fact that it has so much utility tied to it, 33% less supply. And like I said, this is the gateway to mass adoption. And if that's the case, just imagine what kind of valuation will be on Quant in the next couple years. I'll say 5-10 years, right? In 5 to 10 years, Quant could very well be valued at, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000, $50,000. We have no idea. But all we need to know and all we need to understand is that there's trillion-dollar companies out there like Amazon, for an example, that will be utilizing very similar technology. If not, they will be utilizing DLT and blockchain through something like Quant that is a connector. And guess what? That technology cannot be cheap. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on for guys more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. This is up to you all. Have a beautiful day or beautiful night wherever you guys are in this world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.